Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad.
Well, welcome home, family. It's your mom and dad. Yes. Oh, Lee, I'm so happy that you're here.
I miss you guys.
We
Lee is
miss
back.
you
Lee is
so much. Oh, Lee, it's just not the same without you.
I know. Oh.
Having your presence here just warms my heart.
Oh, thank you.
And honestly, it brings me so much comfort because, truth be told, I'm a little shaky this morning because, are you ready for this? Probably about 20 minutes before you got here, I was, and Evan wasn't with me, but he heard what happened. I was in the bathroom just getting ready, putting the pants on, and I have my phone on the counter. And my phone is at least 2.5, 3 inches from the edge of the counter. And by the way, this counter like slopes up a little bit. So it's not even just flat where things can slip off, I guess. My phone dings. And I don't believe that the vibration of a ding has the power to send my phone flying. It dings, and right after it dings, my phone flies off the counter. Like someone has a string attached to it, flies off the counter, comes crashing down, and I'm watching it with my 2 eyes, and I come running out of the room, and Evan was like, "What was that?" It was really spooky. Like I'm shaken up a little bit.
Back?
The ghosts, I mean, I'm sorry.
I think the ghosts are back.
It was, so we've had something where like that toy went across the table. Family, I mean, if you're an OG listener, you know, we've talked about the fact that we feel like the house is haunted. We've had babysitters tell us they think the house is haunted, and sometimes there's movement. We've heard strange things. We've seen like a toy like roll across a table before, but that was where we were trying to like figure out maybe how it could. I don't know. This was literally phone inches from the edge, and it goes flying off. And I'm a little shaken up right now. I've been a little shaky the past like 30 minutes.
I think that we give...
So I'm like, is it angry now? Because I thought it was the nice teenage ghost. Maybe I haven't been paying enough attention to it. And he's like, "Mom, what the hell, Mom?"
See, I think it's what I've thought about this a little bit since you told me about it. And I was kind of like, I wonder what caused a ghost to throw the phone across the room, right? Yeah. So what I've come to conclude is that Jess does this thing where how she communicates with her friends is that she walks around in a panic talking voice notes. So she does like laps around the whole house. It'll be like in the back room, in the front room, in the side room. She's just like walking the whole house, talking on her phone. And I'll just hear like, and I absolutely...
Does anyone stand still on the phone? Or not move during a voice. But
it's weird because you're not on the phone. You're sending a voice message,
which is practically like being on the phone,
right? So what I've come to think is what's going on is that the ghost is a would-be girlfriend of yours.
Okay.
And that she's jealous that like you guys aren't spending any time together.
Okay.
And that there's this like you're never present. You're always talking to your other friends. And I've had enough. And I've been sending signals to you that are more subtle. And you have not been paying attention because you're too busy talking to your, quote, real friends. But I'm real too, and I'll show you. And I think she threw it across because it was like, oh, we're in the bathroom together hanging out. And I also think that she knows the dynamic. She knows that like you can't hear her, but she kind of likes talking at you. And you guys have this relationship where she's just like, oh my God, today was crazy. Like these 4 other ghosts were being so annoying. And you're kind of there as just a listening board.
Now you're freaking me out though.
And the ding is like, oh great, now she's not going to be present again.
But that freaks me out though, because like we've said before, I can really only handle answering like 1 or 2 people's text messages. And like that one of those texts was from like one of the 2 people that I...
Well, she's jealous. She's like, you never invite me to hang out with you and your friends. Like this kind of a
capacity.
Thing.
I don't know what to tell you.
And she knows that, but she's like I'm a human. Or
my
maybe
anxiety doesn't allow it. I don't know what to tell you, ghost.
Right. So maybe you need to go back in, or maybe we could just say it here. Maybe she's with us right now, and we just need to say, "Hey, I'm so sorry, ghost, that like I have not kind of spent more time working on our relationship."
I'm really sorry that I I have this thing with like answering phone calls and text messages, and I like only have the capacity to do so for like 1 or 2 individuals that like need me in my life. And I'm really sorry that I don't have the capacity, and please don't throw things at me anymore.
And also goes,
I'll be there for you at some point.
yeah.
You know, at some point I'll be there. I'll enter out of this anxiety cycle, and maybe we'll be present together.
And maybe
but you're not making my anxiety better by throwing my phone across the room.
And I sense she's sorry. But she understands. Also, a lot of people meditate. Maybe you don't need to meditate. Maybe you just need to hang with your ghost.
Okay.
It's a way to meditate. It's like, were you meditating in there? No, just hanging with my ghost.
Okay.
So maybe 3 minutes a day, you just kind of sit for a second, hang with your ghost. That's all she asks.
I'll try it.
That's all she asks. It's not a big investment, but I think I think she'd appreciate it.
As long as the ghost promises not to throw things anymore, because that's not normally what the activity that we have in this house is. Do you know what I'm saying? Normally it's just kind of like there's a weird sound or like voices or like something rolls or like slowly opens. This was intense.
Well, like all relationships, sometimes there's a boiling point. You know what I mean? And so we come to you, ghost, today. And this is big for me because I usually don't like to address ghosts because it scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
But we apologize. And I'm going to talk to her, and she's going to become a little more present for your relationship.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe it's a boy ghost who like definitely
Has a crush
on me, and he's like really mad that we're together. I like that better.
But why
My
would
jealous boyfriend ghost.
Why would he throw your phone across the room?
Because I'm not paying enough attention to him. You know what I mean? He's like,
you're playing ghost games.
Yeah, he's like, you're always with your husband or with your kid, and you answer just like the 1 or 2 friend messages. Like, why aren't you paying attention to me? Like, I want to be desired. So that's your take? Yeah, it's a boyfriend ghost for sure. It's jealous boyfriend ghost.
Well, then we got issues. Listen, I'm cool with you talking with the ghost as long as it doesn't go farther than that. You guys can chat.
Okay.
So ghost, hopefully that satiates.
We good to flirt?
You guys are good to flirt.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
But anyway, that really freaked me out. I'm not gonna lie.
Creepy.
And I'll keep people updated as to if we have any more activity. But there hasn't been much, at least that I've noticed. We have been a little hectic chaos in the house, so maybe
some of it does come from.
Oh my God!
What's up?
You tore down the wall.
You think they're pissed about that?
Well, I mean, I've heard before with like different ghosty hunters and people who like dive into the paranormal that sometimes when there's like a wall that's broken down, like people have asked before when I've talked about it, they're like, well, did you like remove a wall or change something? Because sometimes, if they're like, their presence is in there and you literally just tore down a wall.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like it either if someone moved into my house and started ripping shit apart.
Or when the wall was torn down, like new ghosts came in.
Yeah. You like opened up a new portal.
Oh, that's worst case scenario.
Yeah,
it's kind of like squatters, like another squatter came in and he's like, I guess we're going to like share this. And they're like, wait a second.
You open up another portal by opening up by knocking down that wall. Great.
But maybe the ghosts will hang out and they won't bother us anymore.
Maybe your boyfriend met someone. And, there's a little bit, he's torn. He's torn. He's like, we used to have something.
Well, it freaks me out. And then I had validation because I asked Katie Thurston, actually, who has spent the night many times at our house, probably more so than most anybody.
She's
Katie
our little
Thurston,
couch surfer.
We have absolutely, she's had plenty of sleepovers. And I asked her because I'd never talked to her about it before. I'm like, what is the vibe of the house? And she's like, I'm not going to lie, it's spooky.
Whoa.
And I'm like, oh no.
But if we ever try to sell the house, don't listen to this, anyone out there. This is all theater. Okay? Any potential buyers in the future, this is theater.
But is that going to freak you out a little bit? Because I think the vibe of our house is nice and warm.
I think it's so nice.
But people are like, there's something spooky about it. Oh God.
Anyway.
So if I'm a little on edge today, apologies. And that just happened. And it just actually really, I came running out of the bathroom. And did I look pale?
There was a paleness. There was a fear. Now, why do you think the ghosts don't mess with me ever? I feel like I never have these run-ins.
I just feel like that's kind of our dynamic in general, in our real life. You never have run-ins with interesting individuals, and I do quite often.
Oh, true.
You know what I mean? The characters find me. The characters find me, and I love it because it makes my life exciting. But the characters, they stay away from you.
Shit.
I bring on the characters.
Because I love characters.
I know you love characters.
And I'm so jealous. People have so many great stories of characters.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm always living through other people.
Yeah.
And I also don't get like, people talk about like, oh yeah, I was in a bar once and I accidentally hit this guy's drink and he was like, I'm going to fight you.
You want to get into a bar
No,
fight?
but
Yeah, like what?
That sounds like the worst case
but they
scenario.
never, these things never happen to me. And
you don't ever have crazy
I
stories.
never have crazy stories because people, I don't know what it is.
But
Like
there can only be one interesting person in a relationship.
That's true.
I need someone to tell my stories at.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what
Not
I mean?
to at. And I do think that's an important distinction, everyone. When Jess is telling a story to me, there's very little in the like join in. It's a little bit more like talk at you.
No, I make
and then
you
I start to after a while I start to slink away.
No,
and
I
then she'll
corner
follow
him.
me.
I follow him around the house. If you watch, we go from like the kitchen into like the
Yeah.
bathroom. I'll follow him into the bathroom and then
I'll
follow him
literally
like,
be like,
into
I'll
the
be like,
backyard.
as the door's closing, like crazy, click. And then there's even times when I click the door shut to the bathroom and she's talking through the door still. And you gotta love that
Remember
level
when
of
I sent
dedication.
you a note underneath the bathroom?
Yeah, what was that? What did it say again?
I finished the story.
Yeah. She's like, and by the way, these two things happen.
I love to send a note under a bathroom.
Reaching out to everyone listening right now, I do feel like that is a classic. There's two types of people in a relationship.
For sure.
One who's getting a story told at them, and the other person who's going totally crazy, totally crazy, totally crazy. Like, I want to hear from people just like, even in the comments, just being like, oh, I'm the person who never stops talking about the story, or I'm the person who keeps getting talked to about the story. And I think one big element about the story is when the person delivering the story is not getting the reaction they hope for. So then they start to double down and triple down
I think
to get something out of you.
I think
if you
that's
hit them
the
with oh my God, they kind of go, oh, okay, I think I got what I needed.
There's a two-part thing to this because I think, and one of the reasons I think why I'm still like so want to be with you and in love with you is because I'm always like trying to get reactions out of you. I'm chasing the reaction. Like it's still so mysterious. And I just try to get a reaction from you all the time. I'm like, hello. And I just try to like get some big reaction, So I think there's that part. Also, to be fair, to defend myself, I feel like I'm a pretty good listener.
Great.
In general. So you're my outlet.
I understand.
So that I talk
I definitely am the
Evan.
outlet. Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, Jess, it's really funny. And also when you just spend a lot of time together, you'll get in those zones.
Yeah.
Where you're like, well, I haven't really told anyone anything today. So like you're hearing it. Even though you don't give a shit about it. It's like, for me, it would be like, hey, did you hear it? Do you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
This last F1 race. And she's looking at me like,
That's crazy.
you better keep this to like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Because there is nothing
Yeah.
I want to hear about less than like what happened on the last F1 race.
In fact, I think you've been talking too long. It's time for us to do an ad.
Let's do it.
Just kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
But we do need to take a quick
yeah, exactly.
And then we're going to dive into some Bachelor in Paradise. Before you get on F1, I'm going to take a quick turn to talk to you about luscious locks, honey, okay?
Let's go.
Family. We are a family, so I'm not going to gatekeep my favorite things from you, okay? And most of you know the hair journey that I have been on, and the thing I found that was a game changer for my hair, providing me fuller, growing hair, and that's Vegamour. You all know how much I sing the praises of Vegamour from the mountaintops for forever. I tell people I love about Vegamour all the time. With Vegamour, I get products that are made with clean ingredients and give me visibly healthy hair and scalp.
Yeah, with Vegamour, you are able to have visibly thicker, fuller, shinier, longer hair, all without the harsh ingredients. All of Vegamour products are 100% cruelty-free and are never formulated with potentially harmful chemicals like parabens or hormones.
I love all of the amazing Vegamour products, but some of my personal faves are the shampoo and conditioner because using them is so convenient and simple to bring into your daily routine because consistency is key in this game, right? And also Vegamour's Grow Hair Serum. I love it. I use it daily and it doesn't make my hair oily, which I love. Fun fact, Vegamour sells 1 bottle of Grow Serum every 15 seconds on their website. That's how good this stuff is. Also, check out Vegamour's value kits like the Grow Essentials kit, where you get to try more than one amazing product at a great savings. When you sign up for a monthly subscription, you save more and you never run low on the products you need to take care of your hair. It's I always get my shipment right in time. It's perfect. Give your hair the power of the little pink bottle with Vegamour. For a limited time, your mom and dad listeners get 20% off your first order by going to vegamour.com/momdad and use code momdad at checkout. That's VEGAMOUR.com/momdad VEGAMOUR.com/momdad, code momdad to save 20% on your first order. VEGAMOUR.com/momdad, code momdad. Okay, well, you all know today we are going over the Bachelor in Paradise recap. This is the final episode before the finale episode. And I have some thoughts.
Yeah.
You and we watched it separately, and then we started to talk about it, and I was like, we need to Evan, you're talking too much. We need to start talking about the
she's like,
podcast.
anyway. Yeah. But no, I mean, it's a weird position.
The way that this is coming to a conclusion is bizarre. It's bizarre. I am confused. I am distraught. I'm also enjoying it because it is different than I feel like what we've seen on the beach before in previous seasons. At this point, there's typically just like all love stories happening.
Yes.
And I love. Don't get me wrong. But then I start to kind of dwindle off. I'm still kind of on the edge of my seat with this season because I'm like, something different is happening every day.
We need 7 more weeks to like wrap some of these ideas up.
That's
the
what
fact
I feel
that
like.
it's like, I feel like we're in the middle of the season right now.
I feel like I want more people on the beach.
We need 5 more people on each side.
I need them to do a random drop. And it doesn't look like they're doing this from the preview, but I just feel like that would actually rattle a lot of people's relationships if they did a random like 5-person drop.
I agree.
Anywho,
I agree completely.
Before we officially get into it, I just wanted to say a couple things. One, just a reminder that, again, we're covering this week 9 Bachelor in Paradise episode. We're dropping this on Thursday, which means if you're listening or watching on Thursday to this today when we're dropping
Yep. On this day that we are dropping the day of, on this day, the episode that's happened.
then you might be watching the Bachelor in Paradise finale episode, which we will be covering and releasing the recap of on Monday. And that will also be our last episode for a couple weeks. We're taking a little holiday break to spend time with the fam.
This will be the first break that's more than like a couple days in like 4 years or something.
Yeah, I think we took some breaks before, but I think then we had some episodes
that were dropping.
We did some like rerun episodes or whatever. But yeah, we're gonna take a little holiday break, and Ember's got her big musical coming up, and Mom and Dad need to focus and be there for her on that one, and I can't wait.
We're excited.
So we'll be back the first week in January 3rd, I believe, on Wednesday. Again, after this coming Monday's episode that we drop, and also, as we hit the holidays and then the new year begins, before we come back on and reunite with the family, just wanted to say, just love you all so much. Love both of you so much. And so glad to be doing this with each other. But also just like to the family, like big shout out. They had the Spotify Wrapped going on like a week ago, and seeing how many people listen to it and spend time with us and support us.
Well, this isn't our last episode. Like, chill.
I
Okay,
know,
tomorrow,
but
next one's our last one.
know,
Okay,
but
so let's save a little bit for that. You know what I mean? Because then it's like, we love you so much, like everything's amazing, and then we'll see you in 2 days. You know what I mean? So let's save a little bit of it for
Never mind.
Monday.
I take it back. I take it back.
So we hit them with like you're all right, and then Monday we go, you're actually the
tease.
best.
You're the love of
You
my
know what I
life.
mean?
Sure,
we can't, it's like we're dating. We gotta
manipulate a little bit.
Manipulate a little bit.
Heard and understand. I get that. No, I just wanted to say it though quick before, because I know next episode for the finale, it's like a 3-hour long finale.
Oh my God.
So we're going to be having to like cover.
Hunker down.
I just wanted to take a moment to say we love you all so much.
It's been a lot. This year has been incredible. Like,
seriously,
think about, we started your mom and dad top of the year.
Yeah.
And like the experience we've gone down, the things we've learned, the fact that we feel like we've had a family come with us along this whole way.
Everyone's
working with Lee on Mike has been incredible.
And everyone's just been like so kind and supportive.
The energy's been so positive.
And just like understanding too, when we've had to rearrange with schedules, when your girl over here is not great on social media. Like everyone's just, I don't know, everyone's just been so supportive, and it makes me feel...
It's been big family vibes.
Big family vibes.
So we love you.
We love you all so much. And can't wait to chat with you again on Monday, and then start the new year off
fresh and strong,
with a wedding from Teresa and Gary. Joey season cast bios. We're gonna be
awesome.
hitting it.
I'm excited.
All right,
let's do this.
Enough of that.
Enough
mush.
sap.
let's talk about how this episode started, because we were left on a cliffhanger the week before with the Blake and Jess convo post our girl Katie Thurston coming down.
Yeah.
So we pick back up with Jess and Blake. And I mean, I saw this coming in the sense that I didn't think we were going to have a cliffhanger and that they were going to stay together. I assumed that they were going to be ending the relationship after that conversation.
It definitely seemed like that.
That's what it seemed like. And that's what happened.
That's what happened.
It was interesting, though, because one of the biggest things about this season that has just absolutely befuddled and confused me is I'm like, what are we missing? Like, what footage are we missing? Because this season feels like there are massive gaps in our understanding as the audience to like what's happening actually on the sand behind the scenes.
Big time. I don't really get it because they're showing, like, for example, with the Blake and Jess breakup, it's like they show a couple moments where they're like, we're not really that connected, but they don't show enough to kind of explain why. They're not showing tension. They're not showing any of that. It just seems like, and there's like the Tyler and Jess makeout that supposedly they all talked about, but never addressed. Like, why wouldn't you show that to explain more? Like,
so we've heard via like different interviews then that apparently that conversation had happened between, at least I know, Blake and Jess, and then Tyler. I had mentioned this before, but I'd posted on some like Instagram story or something that they had talked about it. Yeah, why didn't they show that? Because Blake said in an interview, I'm so sorry, I don't know if it was from Chicks in the Office or Off the Vine. Check out those podcasts with Blake. But I think he had mentioned that they had talked about it. He did not realize, he's like, that there was so much tongue in this makeout involved. Like,
right, and it was like a
he
real
didn't know
makeout.
that, but they did talk about it. And I feel like that would be an important conversation to show.
Yeah, I agree. The one like theme I feel like I got from this season is a real lack of passion.
Yeah.
Like, other than Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron and Eliza.
Going after Eliza. Mm-hmm. Like, that might be the only example of like, I like you for you. I'm passionate about you. I'm going to keep trying to win you.
Yes.
Other than that, it's like a initial like big attraction, and then like, let's just sit around all day and then kind of get on each other's nerves. Like, that's kind of been the energy across the board.
That's the thing about it is, man, some of these guys this season need to really step it up.
Because in the other seasons,
you know what I mean? Like let's like, where are we talked about this a little bit, but like, where are the picnics? Where are the chocolate covered strawberries?
Where's
where
like
is the drama?
I set this whole thing up on the beach for you, and now we're gonna walk down to it. Like, that was such a thing.
Where are the declarations of love?
Now it's just like, sup. So I guess we're together, I guess. Like, it's not bad. It's fine. And that's like generally everyone's vibe.
And it has left in so many of the women confused by like, what's going on? We just made out and you told me that you liked me. And then all of a sudden we're like, what, not together? Like, I don't understand. There's been a lot of that. You're right.
Big
Aaron
time.
has props to Aaron.
He's the only one.
Aaron has like come out the gate and been like, I'm into Eliza. I want to be with this woman and I'm going to let you know how much I love you.
Even in like Kylee and Avon been together the whole time. There's not been one moment where like they're having a special thing.
Right.
Where there's some drinks and there's cheese and there's thing and we're all sitting on the thing and I put the flowers, like none of that. They're just been sitting around. Everybody's been sitting around.
Maybe they're editing it out, but I got the feeling from, especially when we see the conversation later with Tyler and Mercedes, that, and she was like, hey, yeah, after that first great date, you haven't been pursuing me at all. And I think that's kind of the vibe of what's happening. Like, everyone's just kicking it.
Everyone's like, I got it in the bag. It's fine.
This isn't a free vacation. This is supposed to be entertainment.
Well, my favorite too is that everyone sits around with their person, and then like 5 hours before the rose ceremony, they start talking to everybody else. I'm like, hey, just so you know, you're absolutely beautiful.
Yeah,
you know,
100%.
it's like, wait, so where the hell did that come from?
I know.
Anyway,
but what was interesting is that we had, right before we then see the Blake and Jess conversation, like, you know, start and kind of conclude, I guess. Avon, he did say, I don't know if it was in an ITM or talking to somebody, he said Blake's been trying to make him and Jess work for a while now, which is very interesting. I feel like we're getting more perspective during this conversation than we have had at all with what's going on in their relationship. There were numerous moments that we got finally that I was trying to kind of then piece together what had happened. And it definitely gave me the vibe that Blake was trying to make it work. Like, even at the end where he was leaving and Kylie's talking to him, which
we'll get into.
We got to get into because of what was going on. And Kylie was just like, no, come on. He's like, listen, you both know. Like, she's like, I know you want this. And he's like, yeah, but I can want it. And I can't force her to want it. So that was interesting because what we'd gotten as the audience were a lot of like more ITMs than from Jess after they kind of took a break. And she was like, I want Blake back. I'm really into him. And that's a little more of what we saw. But I think in actuality, it was more like Blake definitely pursuing Jess and trying to make it work. And Jess kind of feeling like maybe Tyler, maybe Tanner. I like Blake, but I don't know if this is it. Because then we had her too in the conversation after the conversation, she kept talking about, she's like, I feel like such a bad person. I feel like a bad person.
I think I know why she feels like a bad person.
Why?
Because Jess...
Which she's not, by the way. That's
no,
ridiculous.
But I'm saying, but I can understand why she kind of feels that way.
Okay.
Because I think after watching this whole season, Jess was never that interested in Blake. She was interested in being in love. Like she always talked about like, I didn't know I was going to be in this situation and I didn't expect me not to fall in love by now. And then when she broke up when the whole Blake thing blew out, she's like, I thought I'd be in love by now. And I just really want to be in love so bad. Never once brought up Blake.
Yeah, she just kept saying in ITMs throughout the season too, when she was like, this is like, my journey is going terribly. This isn't what I expected. I brought like a dress for the engagement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was like she focused on, it's almost like I wanted the job so I could buy the house and have the thing, as opposed to like, what do you want to do for a living, and do you love what you do? And then the house and everything will come with it. She kind of definitely cart before the horse. Like she wanted to be a person that was in love and had a relationship. And Blake was like a maybe. Well, I'll get there through that.
Right.
So I think she feels bad because she probably knew well in advance that like there wasn't really anything there.
Yeah.
And she just wanted to be in love. So she was like, I don't want to give up on this idea. But I never saw a spark in her for him.
Yeah.
It always felt just like, I want to be an in love person. I want to be married. I want to have whatever, that life. And then I saw Blake trying to connect with her.
Yeah.
But like, because if you notice when everything went down, everything he said was about her. It was like, it didn't work with her. I tried with her. Everything she said was, I'm just sad I'm not in love. You know what I mean?
No,
so it was like totally
you.
different angles.
I was getting the vibe from her, like when she was saying like, I feel like I'm a bad person, is that part of what you're saying, but then I think also like that feeling, and again, you shouldn't like, you should not feel like a bad person because it's like either that's the right person for you or it's not. But I felt like the vibe from Jess is that she met Blake and it was like, oh my gosh, he's everything that I should be with, right? Like he's this amazing guy. He's super attractive. I'm like attracted to him, like all of these things, but something just wasn't there for her. And so then she kept kind of thinking like, well, maybe Tyler, maybe Tanner. And then because she brought that up, it kind of was the beginning of the end with their relationship a little bit. And now there's then the situation of, who knows what their conversation looked like about the Tyler make out. Who knows if Jess has talked to Mercedes about it or if it was two separate conversations, like what went down. I feel like it's that feeling of when like, in your gut, the person is not the person for you, but you feel like bad because you're like, oh, it should be the person for me and I'm trying. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it's like you stay in it too long and you end up wasting both your time. Yeah. And I think she knew well in advance that she wasn't it didn't feel like it was a long-term thing. And I think she probably, feels bad because she kind of strung him along a little bit and didn't say, hey, I cut you off early to like allow him to possibly make another connection with someone else.
I do feel like if there is the string along, I don't feel like it was intentional. It's like that very typical feeling of where you're like, this should be right. And I'm going to try to make it work. Yeah. But there's just something that's not quite there. Like what she said when he broke up with her, when she was like, I feel like we were really good at the beginning, but then we stopped having fun. Yeah. And I'm like, I thought I would be hopelessly in love. That's not where I'm at. I'm someone who keeps going because I don't know how to end something that's begun. And I keep trying to figure out what's missing. So I thought that was super interesting where it's like she maybe I'm reading into what she's saying, but it was almost like she didn't quite know how to end it because she didn't want to hurt him. Yeah. But then maybe her trying to end it was like Tanner and Tyler. But then when she had the taste of Blake being with someone, it was like, well, I don't like that either. That, I don't know.
I personally still think Tyler was the best option for her.
Okay, that's that. Okay, interesting.
Because I think she needs someone who's like energetic.
What I
Because
think,
she's so like kind of calm and chill, and she needs someone who's kind of like life of the party vibe. And Tyler hits me as a little bit more like that guy, like he wants to have fun and go.
yeah,
And I think that Blake's just like older and more chill. And I think that she needs like that someone driving the energy, because I constantly kept seeing her kind of like looking at other people having fun and being interested in that.
and she's so young too. It's like
Well,
let's
she's
have a
like-
good time.
That's what I'm saying. And I think Tyler brought that like, ooh, we're gonna have a fun makeout. And it was like dangerous and fun. It's like, I think she wants that fun vibe.
Do you know what I think? I feel like, and I don't know, maybe Jess just like wasn't into him, but I'm sorry, I feel like I called it when Brayden pulled Jess later in the episode.
I was hoping that was a
When
thing.
Brayden pulled Jess later in the episode, I don't know if you recall, but during that Truth or Dare episode where Brayden got the first question and it was like, who do you think, give a lap dance to who do you think is the most exciting person on the beach? And he went to Jess. And you were saying, I feel like it's because he thought he was going to get a funny reaction out of Jess and their friends. My opinion is that there was something there. And then he says, I always had my eye on Jess, but she was always in a relationship with Blake. I feel like the reason that Brayden did that was because he wanted to have that like one Love Island moment.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like snog the person who you think is the best
Sure.
looking and you get to
Plant
have
the
your
seed.
moment.
Yeah.
Because no shade to Jess, but I feel like the question, who's the most exciting person on the beach? It
Not even
probably would
close.
go to somebody else. She's like
Yeah.
more low key, sweet
It's
vibes.
Brayden.
Brayden would give himself a lap dance.
Brayden's the most exciting on the beach. Not even close.
I would be like, give it to Olivia. Olivia is the most exciting person on the beach.
If it's Brayden having to give it, it's Olivia.
I mean, he can either give himself a lap dance or give Olivia a lap dance.
Yeah.
But I'm like, Olivia, come on now. Like,
100%.
Olivia is like electric.
you know, that's not the game.
But
The
I
game is
think-
not to be honest. The game is to hit on a girl you think is
But
cute.
that's my point. Is
Yeah.
that's why I think he did it, not to
Yeah.
shock Jess and make her laugh.
to kind of plant
I
the
think it
seed.
was a little bit like, I want her to know that I think she's exciting
Which
and I
is-
want the opportunity to lap dance her up. That's what I think he was doing.
Yeah, like maybe the whole, you know, Tanner and her thing is a thing, but you know, I don't know. Like I'm
Well-
not seeing it, but like who knows? They're both so like, so anyways.
I just don't see that necessarily working out, but I really like, I'm actually so bummed out because
I know. When he brought the chocolates, he did an actual thing
yes,
too.
Brayden did it. And we'll talk about the Brayden exit in a little bit, but like, I'm sorry, when I think about the way that most of the episodes ended, the ending clip was Jess hanging out with Brayden and some of the other
Yeah.
guys, and they were like rapping together. She had fun with him,
Yes.
and I feel like there was a thing, and maybe she's not like attracted to him in that way, and he's
Right.
like friend vibes, but I was actually
It could
so
develop.
devoed because I thought, I'm like, you know what? This might be a way that this show ends that works out for Brayden and Jess. Like, I can see them together. Like, he is so wild, and I feel like she would just be like watching him constantly laughing, and he would have someone to entertain. And like, it's kind of what we were talking about earlier with the two people in a relationship. One is talking at the person, the other one's listening. Brayden would be the one talking at Jess, and Jess like laughs at his shenanigans.
Here's Jess in my mind. Jess is a daughter of a wealthy duke in some old movie, right?
Oh my god, she's very like Pride and Prejudice energy.
She is the gorgeous sister,
She is Jane in Pride and Prejudice.
Right?
Oh my god, she's Jane in Pride and Prejudice.
and she ends up marrying a guy who you never saw coming. So all the Tanners, all the thing always court her, but she ends up getting with the kind of quirky, strange guy who like
Oh my
goes
God.
after her constantly. And at first she's kind of like, get away from me, nerd. But then he wears on her and then she falls in love with him. So like Tanner is the like obvious choice for Jess.
Sure.
He's like the tall, super handsome. Everyone, when he walked down, all the girls
Everyone's
lost
like, oh
their
my God,
minds.
it's Tanner.
But they're kind of like, okay, he's chill and he doesn't really. But like someone like a Brayden, who's obviously also a very good looking guy.
Yeah.
But he's quirky and interesting, and she might not love like at first glance, be like, that's a little too much for me. But then like actually falls in love. So for me, and she even looks like a Pride and Prejudice
No, she's
person.
Jane from
She looks
Jane, right? Jane's the
exactly.
oldest sister from Pride and Prejudice. That is, oh my god, you've done it.
Yeah,
You
she
put it
acts
together.
like that too. Like if you just didn't change anything about her personality and threw her in like 1620, like or 1750, whatever it is,
yeah.
that she is
In that movie.
absolutely that girl. And so she needs like a quirky,
That
fun
everyone is in
guy.
love with.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow. You absolutely nailed it.
So
I'm actually like, I'm
give Brayden a chance.
genuinely devoted. Like, I'm genuinely devoted. When I saw him run up with the chocolates, I was like, I knew it. I knew he liked her from the beginning, but he's not going to be that guy. I feel like he wasn't that guy at all this whole season. Brayden never tried to like steal the girl. No. Like, he did not, but not in the pocket. Like, he wouldn't ever try to like, I don't feel like, unless I'm forgetting, like kind of swipe in and steal the girl.
He didn't do what he did on Charity season.
No, I feel like he was on his he wasn't on his heels.
Maybe because he got shit.
Maybe.
So he tried to kind of correct course. But like, I love him when he's going after it.
But he did have an important statement at the very end of this episode, which I was really happy to hear from him, which we can talk about. But okay, can take a quick pause before we dive back in. Family. I feel like everyone can relate to the feeling of having so many amazing pictures on your phone, but never uploading them or getting them printed because the process is annoying. Let's be honest, okay? This is where Persnickety Box comes in to save the day. Persnickety Box is the most simple way to get photos off of your device without painful uploading. Simply swipe 30 of your favorite photos into the app and receive real 4x4 Fuji quality prints in an eco-friendly keepsake story box. Send a box full of photos as a gift with the option to add a photo album or a frame. I am doing this for the holidays this year, okay? The family is getting some cute pics of Ember via Persnickety Box, that is for sure. And maybe some of me as well, because you know what, why not?
Here's the thing. The next generation may be the most photographed and simultaneously not have those tangible albums or scrapbooks of pictures to actually hold one day. But baby books and scrapbooking can be overwhelming. The Persnickety Box app is the most simple way to get those photos off your phone and organized into a tangible system for your kids or family or you.
I really want our child to have tangible photos of her childhood one day, and Persnickety Box is making that so much easier. Download the Persnickety Box app on iOS and Google Play and start swiping today. A new box opens each month. Fill it and close it when you're ready. Gift or ship a box to grandma, anyone from the family or friends. Add a photo album or a frame and start creating a memory system that works for you. $19.99 a month. Pause or cancel anytime, and you can receive 50% off your first box with code MOMDAD. That's Persnickety Box in your app store and use code MOMDAD for 50% off your first box. You can even gift a year of photos this holiday with the Persnickety Box Ultimate Photo Box, which includes a 1-year subscription, acrylic frame, and photo album for $199. Go to persnicketybox.com for more information. This is such a fun gift idea for the holidays.
Really good.
Okay, so getting back to the Jess and Blake conversation, I mean, listen, I have to say, whatever we didn't see that happened behind the scenes, whether that's like Blake really pursuing Jess and Jess kind of not knowing how she's feeling, I felt like the way that they handled this, both of them, was spectacular.
Totally. It just felt like it was like a right. Yeah. It was like let's let this thing go. Let's stop trying.
And it was sad and it was like a moment, but I felt like they both were like, I feel like Blake was super communicative about it. I feel like the way he communicated was wonderful. Also him communicating with her as well. Like, hey, it wasn't Katie coming down that like through this whole thing. It was just that it was the reminder of like, hey, I've been here before in this situation and love happened quick for me and I'm just not quite there.
Well, he even said like, I was able to get more emotionally connected to her in the 10 minutes I spent with her than I feel like I've been with you for 3 weeks. Right. So it shows like maybe we're not there.
And he said it though at the same time like super lovingly and gracious so and like letting her know too. He's like, I felt like I want you to know how much you mean to me. I felt numb for the past couple years and these moments with you have opened me back up. And then she handled it so beautifully, like, you know, not making him feel bad, telling him like there's no hard feelings. You've done everything wonderfully. Like there just seem like two really lovely people who just are both lovely and maybe it's just not the vibe together.
Jess is by far the most gracious person who is talked to about something.
Yeah.
Like every time Blake would have a conversation with her, like, hey, I feel like this, she would go, you know, you're right. Now that I think about it, I feel bad for my part in this. And it's like, that's definitely not generally the thing. It's like, hey, how come you haven't, you know, there's always kind of a combativeness that most, myself included, everyone will feel when something, she's always the first person to go, well, what have I possibly done wrong in this? Which is like, you don't see that very often.
She also is like, you know, for her age, she's 24, like she self-examines very well. Like,
probably to a fault sometimes where she kind of goes like, I feel like a bad person. It's like, whoa, you went too far, but I'm saying still a good like thing to have where you're like,
Right.
instead of just going, well, this person sucks,
No.
you're always thinking, well, how did I add to this?
And in her ITMs, she does a lot of like, when Blake went on the date, it was a lot of like, well, I get it. Like, it wasn't like, I'm not going to make this his issue.
Where
but
everyone else is like, how could he?
yeah, I was going to say almost to the fault in the way that I think for her growth curve will be being more gracious with herself
Yeah.
and being like, it's okay to be quote unquote selfish sometimes.
Agreed.
Like, make that call. And maybe that's what didn't happen earlier in this episode or this season for her, is that maybe she should have been a little more like selfish in the way of like, hey, I'm going to be definitive and tell you
Yeah.
I'm going to keep exploring different relationships so that I can figure this out. You know what I mean?
100%.
But wow, she self-examines in like, it's very impressive.
Very impressive.
And I know when I was 24, I was not there. That's for sure.
Zero.
I was like, it's everybody's fault. Like, you
Gosh,
know what
I'm
I mean?
Still like that. Yeah.
But that's definitely that's wildly mature.
Yeah.
So their ending happened and it was sad, but
Yeah.
clearly it seems like there's no hard feelings and they just move forward. But Blake is then saying goodbye to everybody on the beach and he's leaving.
So weird.
Kylee, he's in the car and Kylee chases after him and is like, get out of the car. And at first I thought the vibe was going to be like what she said initially. What happened?
Right. Just wanted to know. Just a friend that wanted to know.
Yeah. Like what went down? Like what, you're leaving so soon? Like, can we all talk about this as like a family together? Like what went down? I thought that it was all good. But then the conversation started being like, did we miss a relationship potential between these
She starts saying, what am I going to do without you? I don't want to I think she says like, I don't want to be here without you.
Yeah,
it
I was
started to
like,
get like,
what? I was like, is this the declaration of love? It was
the
like a
level,
moment.
maybe she was drunk. That's the only thing I could think
Yeah,
of.
so she was a little more
maybe she was
emotional.
drunk, so she was just kind of being, it's the stuff you say. It's like when you're drunk and you go on like a 3-day trip with your friends, and then when they leave, you're like, we're a family.
Yeah, it's like-
you know what I mean? So it could be that.
She like really loves him as a friend, and so there was kind of
the
this like,
amount
please
of
don't go.
outpouring, like if I was Avon sitting there, I'd be like, what am I going to do without you? I don't know if I want to be here if you're not going to be here. I'd be like, am I not right here? It was so weird. Like
It was. I was
and
like,
especially, I could see Kat maybe saying that because Kat would always corner him and talk at him.
I mean, it's her BFF.
Right? Kat would always be like, Blake, get over here. I need to talk to you. So at least she
Where's
has
my
like,
best friend?
yeah.
Where's my best friend?
So this is kind of what I came to the conclusion of.
Okay, tell me, what are your thoughts?
I think that Blake became the counselor. That felt with him, they could kind of talk to him about all their problems.
That's true. He did. I mean, I told you, I think I called him Saint Blake earlier in the
Right.
season. I feel like he was the saint of the beach, and I feel like everyone kind of would spill on him.
Like, so Kat probably said, I found the best psychiatrist. And then Kyle's like, who? He's like, Blake, just go talk to him. He'll make you feel so good.
I don't know if
And
he's a
then Blake
professional
went and-
therapist, but wow, he's a good listener.
And then Kyla like went over to Blake and started complaining about Avon or something. And then he was like, oh, it's really interesting. And she was like, this is great.
He's such
And
a
it
good
just
listener.
became like that group's like,
He was
counsel-
the guy.
Exactly.
Interesting. This is a good perspective because, yeah, when I was watching it, I felt like the way she was saying it, I'm like, is this another thing that we're missing? Where we're either missing a deep friendship that we didn't see, or was there a love connection at some point? Like, was there a vibe going down? Was there a flirty vibe happening? Because, like, I get it. I feel like I'm very much wired in the way to be like that with my friends, especially
Right.
if I have a drink or two where I'm just like, oh
little-
my God, like I love you so
right.
much. Like we're always going to be here and together and da 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 da. But there was an energy, and I felt like the way she was saying it had like so much deep love in her eyes.
It was a lot.
And he looked a little flushed.
Yeah, he was kind of like, damn, you really like me that much?
I
Okay.
was like, what's happening?
My
like, Blake's
favorite,
like,
though-
I wish you would have told me this sooner.
There was a hilarious moment that happened that I rewound, and I think most people didn't catch. Mm-hmm. Was so
So you think you're better than us?
Well, it's just going to tell her I think I'm smarter than everybody. Is that what happened is that he gets out of the car, they have that conversation, and then she says, as he's kind of pulling away, getting into the car, she says, I'm going to miss you so much. And she goes, And then he goes back to her,
Oh, that's
And
funny.
that
I didn't know.
killed me because, and that was like, I don't even think he realized he did it until after. And then I honestly do think he thought that was kind of weird that I did that because it's so not him to go, I'm going to miss you too. And she went, I'm going to miss you. And he goes, all right, bye. And it was, I don't know
I thought
why.
you said that he was like giving her a hard time.
No, it was like he did it back, almost like I don't know what to do with that. So he
Right.
just did it back to
So
her.
he mm'd her
but I
back.
saw him kind of go like, and get back in the car. Like,
He was like, that wasn't my
That
vibe
wasn't natural.
normally.
I don't know why I did that. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
It's like when someone says like, have a great flight, and you hit him with a U2.
Yeah. Oh,
What?
totally.
It was like a U2. He's like, and he's like, oh, never mind. I don't know why I did that.
You mean what I did the other day?
Oh yeah, what did you do?
Ember was at her school having
This is a good
oh
one.
my god, this was so embarrassing. I had not gotten much sleep the night before, and Ember was having a book fair, and I was walking in, and one of the other parents walked up and was like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. I'm such and such's dad. And I said, me too. Which is the weirdest thing that you can possibly say back to somebody. And I
Because
said,
you're not saying, I'm Ember's dad.
he's like,
even.
hey.
You just said me too.
He was so nice to meet you. I'm such and such's dad. Let's just say I'm Taylor's dad.
Right.
And I said, me too. And he looked very confused. And then I went, oh, sorry. I mean, I'm Ember's dad.
Oh,
and
right.
then I said, oh, I'm sorry. I'm Ember's mom.
It's like strike 3.
No, I did 3 stumbles. And I'm like, it was one of those moments too where then I felt awkward. Like, I'm like, you feel like you made me feel awkward, but I'm tired. And now, like, do you think I'm flirting around you? Like, I'm nervous. Like, this is our rom-com moment. You know what I mean? It was one of those weird. And then I was like,
that you were just flustered by his gorgeousness.
Yeah, 100%. That's like the vibe that I feel like that maybe he thought I was putting out. And I was just stumbling over my words. And then I ran away into the corner of the book fair. I was so embarrassed. Anyway, that's my story. But that's funny. I did not notice that at all. I did see Blake on, I believe, Chicks in the Office, a clip from him where they ask, like, hey, what was the deal with you and Kylee? Like, what was that?
Up?
Yeah, they're like, what was that goodbye situation? And Blake said that they definitely had like a special friendship. And he had that with Mercedes and Kylee because Jess was like best friends with Mercedes and Kylee. So he's like, I got to really know them really well because we'd always be hanging out together. He's like, but I was surprised
at the amount
by how like vocal she was about how much she was gonna miss me. So he was a little taken aback by how
here's
much,
the issue.
which I think, like you said, maybe a glass or two of champagne extra.
But the issue is not that she said those things, in my opinion. If everyone's saying goodbye in a group and she holds him for a second, says, what am I gonna do without you? I'm gonna miss you. Okay. Chasing him up the stairs.
Yeah.
When you're running after someone alone to do it. That's what to me was like, what?
Yeah.
That was interesting. Maybe, who knows what's going on
It was a dramatic moment, and I thank her for it because it sure left me scratching my head.
Yes.
And
it was a big, like, what?
And he was surprised. Like, you could tell in like the interview, he was a little bit like, yeah, no, we were friends, but like, I was definitely surprised. And he's like, watching it back, I was a little surprised at like how emotional it was. Yeah. So like, who knows? It'll always be a mystery to all of us.
And he turns around and he goes, is this a thing?
Are we doing this right now?
Are we dating now?
Do I need to go talk to Avon and like make sure like him and I are cool? Like
He just turns around and goes, come with me. She's like, I can't.
Stop it. Can you imagine? Don't even say that.
That'd be
that
amazing.
Literally like makes my fingers tingle. That's like so exciting to me. Like get in the car and they just take off and then they never even address it with anyone.
Never hears from her again.
And we never know what happens. And they just like
delete their
drive off.
social media accounts and you never hear from them again. And then there's just rumors about them like on one of his trips. Vibes.
Oh my God. And then like cut to like 5 years later and all of a sudden they reemerge with full family.
Full family. And then they do a wedding thing and then it's all televised and it's next to the Golden Bachelor.
Wow.
Ideas for you all to have.
Ideas for you to do with your life.
Yeah, with your life, do that.
So then after that, the next big like relationship shift is the Mercedes and Tyler moment. I mean, we're getting clips of them remembering their first date where they like literally saw signs. They saw a shooting star. They saw a raccoon that I don't think was actually a raccoon. And they were like, wow, it's a sign. Oh my gosh. And that made me remember how intense that first date of theirs was. Like they were vibing hard.
Yes.
And then since then, like she says later to Tyler, she's like, after that, it feels like it really plateaued and you stopped hanging out with me. And to that, I said, he got that earring. Brayden pierced his ear. And after he pierced his ear, nothing was ever the same. He put that earring in and things changed. He's like, things are different now. And he's like,
what do you want me to say? And he's just kind of like flicking it in front of her.
He's like, why aren't you giving me more?
It's crazy. As just a real chilled guy who just loves just a vibe. I've seen that. Have you ever seen that in people though, where they all of a sudden kind of like do like a risky fashion move, and then they kind of like love it, and then all of a sudden they're like fashion people, and they're like posting like them like posing with their new outfits, but their partner is not that like his partner's the same person who they were before, and then
But like now they're like,
and you see the ego boost, and you see them kind of like thinking they're hot shit. Maybe the earring was that to him, where he was like, I thought I was a normal guy, now I'm earring guy.
I don't know if I know what you're talking about, but I kind of love that idea.
I literally can think of like 3 people that I know.
Wait, for real?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I'll be more specific in my industry in music is like I've hired musicians who are young, like 20.
Yeah.
And they're like new and they're kind of nerdy and they're coming out of college and they're like, I don't know, I got my like shirt on and I just play my instrument.
Yeah.
And then they do one gig with a stylist for like a video shoot. They love the way they look. And then the next like year
They put on
like
the pearl necklace.
and they put
it's
on the thing or the
over.
oversized thing or the cool whatever, and then they're like now they're fashion people, and then they like walk in, but you're still the same person, but like covered with the cool stuff.
Yeah.
Like you're not owning it really. You kind of are uncomfortable. Like you're like it's wearing you. You're not wearing it.
Sure.
The earring is in the driver's seat. Because the earring is
I'm sorry, Tyler can't come to the phone anymore. It's the earring now.
Exactly. And the earring he's a little bit like, I'm got a diamond stud now. So I think your theory is absolutely right.
Thank you. Okay, I appreciate that. You know, I listen, when it comes to someone deciding to like reinvent themselves or become like a fashion god,
Yes.
I'm all in support of that.
100%.
I'm like, you do your fashion choices, you wear what you want to wear. But I guess when the ego then gets in the driver's seat,
That's
when
the
the
issue.
earring takes over, that's when it's like, well, you might burn some people and leave some people in the dust, and let's reconsider.
I think Brayden was not aware that Tyler couldn't handle the earring. Because Brayden's been developing his relationship for a long time.
Yeah, with the
He
earring.
didn't
Sure,
start
sure.
with the 12 inches.
No.
Started small, little hoop. Over years, developed the capacity to handle
yeah.
the long.
Yeah.
He jumped straight into diamond.
Yeah, he went- and
goes,
and it was
I've created a monster.
And it's a big diamond too.
Big
That's some
diamond.
money on that ear.
Exactly. So I think Brayden's like, it's a little bit of Frankenstein action. He didn't realize what he had created.
It's like, I'm so sorry, Mercedes.
It's too
but
much.
Now Tyler's the earring.
It's a beast I can't control.
But I felt really bad for Mercedes in this
Dude, so
situation,
bad.
especially too because we saw like the rewind of her and Will, and I had forgotten about that. Her and Will were vibing, and then her and Tyler were vibing, and she kind of had to make the choice of like, okay, who am I connecting with more? And she went with Tyler. Who knows what would have happened if her and Will would have maybe stayed together and continued to develop their relationship. In fact, I think Will was already rocking the earrings. So like that wouldn't have happened. It was like Will was already like fashion god.
You don't want to be with someone in the transition. You want to be after because it's a wave you're not ready for.
And so I just felt so bad for her
Yeah, me
because
too.
that was quite a wild conversation.
It was very, I don't know of a better word to use than kind of heartless.
It felt
Like
a little,
it felt just like, whoa.
and
like,
it threw me off too because like we, over the years of getting to know Tyler on this show, like Tyler has always been like such a romantic, and was always willing to like put it all on the line for love, and we've seen that to the point where then he gets hurt. So I'm wondering maybe he's gotten hurt a lot, and now his guard is up, and now he's like trying, this new like I'm just here chilling lifestyle. But it bummed me out because I'm like, oh, I feel like, especially if I was Mercedes, having observed Tyler on TV, I'd be like, oh, he's the type of guy who like if he says he really likes me, like we're doing this thing,
right?
Like he's a lover, he's a romantic. Like I haven't seen in the past Tyler given the vibes of like I'm just here to like play and have a good time.
Yep.
So when he all of a sudden pulled the whole we don't have this spark thing and saying like I gave you this rose last time to see if we had a spark.
Yeah.
Very confusing conversation because we've seen him telling her, at least when they're sitting together, like, I really like you. I'm just here for you. And then she's like, but you're telling me there's no spark? Like, how can you be just here for me with no spark?
Felt defensive to me.
Yeah.
It felt like she called him out on his bullshit a little bit.
Yeah.
And instead of him being like, I'm sorry, I should have realized maybe there was no spark earlier. But instead of that, like, it's one thing to be like, sit someone down and say, hey, there's no spark.
Yeah.
It's another thing to be called out for no spark and then kind of have to explain yourself.
Yeah.
But to be called out for the no spark and then just be like, yeah, no spark, sorry. It was a little bit like, dang, like, did you ever care about me kind of feeling?
I would have felt
You know
that
what
way if I
mean?
was Mercedes. When she walked away and she's like, I feel...
And then he was just like, peace, and he just left. It was very like,
Yeah.
it was, I'm taking my Xbox home y'all can't play with it energy. Like,
Sure.
I'm not gonna let you make me feel like I did something wrong. I'm gonna break up with you first.
Yeah.
Thing.
Totally.
It was just weird. It was a very like not sad, very emotionless. Yeah, sorry, there's no spark. Anyway, bye guys. It was really nice meeting you. It was like, whoa.
And it also gave me something that I was like sitting there breaking down for a minute. I was like, okay, can you be like fully there for somebody and like not have a spark at all? And that feels kind of like you are like trying to make something work. Like, can that be the case? I don't know. I feel like, I guess it can if you feel like, oh, this person is someone that I feel like I should be with, but like I don't have a spark with this person, but like I like this person's vibe, but
I
there's
also
no
think
chemistry.
He likes being on the show and hanging out with all his friends and having a good time. And you can kind of let that ride and not really focus on your relationship.
Well, and my thing is though too, I think at the end of the day, I'm like, I totally get it. If you don't have a spark, that's like nobody's fault. It's just like maybe there just isn't a spark there for you. But I think then it's like coupled with him continuing to tell her like, I'm here for you. And that she had the conversation with him previously, like, is the long distance thing an issue? And he's like, absolutely not. I've done long distance before. If it's going to work, it's going to work. If it's not, it's not. And then apparently we got from this conversation that she had heard from other people but in fact, it was an issue for him. And he was like, I don't want to do the long distance thing. So that was in a little bit too, where it's like from her perspective, I literally have asked you about this. You said it's not an issue, but now I'm hearing from other people that it is a problem. Yeah. So yeah, that bummed me out for her. And listen, I've loved Tyler on this show. Like, from meeting him, seems like a wonderful guy. But I'm just like, hey, we got the earring. We just got to like kind of recalibrate here and be like, if you want to be, on the beach to be like having a good time, all good, baby. We love someone coming on the beach to just have a good old time. But then you can't tell somebody that you're here fully for them and then not be.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I completely agree. It was a weird twist. Bad. I was like, whoa.
I was surprised.
But I think we saw it early on with the make out with Jess. It's like, wait a second.
Yeah.
If you're doing that in the middle of your supposedly great relationship, it's like something's off. Like we always knew something was off with Jess and Blake because they were constantly having conversations about like something's wrong. But the Tyler thing was from left field and we never discussed it. And so it's like clearly that had been festering and like they both felt like something was off.
Yeah, totally.
So, which leads to Jordan.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's talk about Jordan in just a sec. Wow. This one threw me for a loop. Big time. Okay, family, but quick pause first. So it's the most spending time of the year, everybody. I mean, it's true. Between getting people gifts, the food, the decorations, all of it. I mean, typically, at least in our house, there are a lot more purchases made this time of year. And if I'm going to be spending anywho, I would love to simultaneously save while doing that. And how do you do that, you ask? Well, let me tell you about Rakuten. Rakuten is the most rewarding way to shop and save because their members earn cash back on everything that they buy. Rakuten is a shopping platform that partners with over 3,700 stores across every category. I'm talking beauty, clothing, electronics, home, department stores, pets, everything.
And if you are already shopping at your favorite stores, why not be saving while doing it? It's really a no-brainer. Some of the stores that Rakuten partners with are everything from Sephora to Petco to eBay to Best Buy and so many more. I mean, you can shop for everyone on your holiday list through Rakuten and get some cash back. Membership is free and it's really easy to sign up. The stores pay Rakuten a commission for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the commission with its members. You get paid via check or PayPal quarterly. Rakuten has 17 million members who are already saving, and their members have earned over $4.6 billion in cash back.
Rakuten also finds you the best deals, sales, and coupons. They do the work of searching for coupon codes, so you save time and money. I love Rakuten so much. Get the free Rakuten app and download the free browser extension. Start all your shopping trips at Rakuten.com or get the Rakuten app to start saving today. Your cash back really adds up. Okay, hold on one second. Before we actually get into Jordan, I do want to address the remaining couples at the moment for sure. So obviously, Aaron and Eliza are cruising. They're talking about wanting to meet the family. I think these two are going to get engaged. I believe in them. I believe in their love. I'm very happy for them. John, Henry, and Kat are making out and seem to be cruising.
Listen, but no hate. There's no way that lasts more than a couple months after they go home. No way.
Evan, when we saw in the preview that he's talking about like my heart wants to propose, my gut's telling me no. Evan, if these two end up getting engaged, I I would have bet all my money last week, like all of my money in my savings account, that there's no way that they make it till the end. If they don't just even leave boyfriend, girlfriend, if they get engaged, I'm going to lose my mind out of shock.
Yes.
Like after all of that drama, they really then also have not been then together for very long. When we get to the final episode, it's been like a few days.
Yes.
If of all the people they walk away engaged, like what is going on?
My favorite thing about their relationship,
I would be absolutely bewildered.
my favorite thing about their relationship is that she doesn't want him to talk. She just wants to, she loves making out.
She's well, that's all she talks about is
She
the tongue.
loves a tongue make out. And what I love about them together is like when he was talking about peeing in his wetsuit. And how they both like their thing they have together is that they both got to pee a lot.
Well, they have a bladder soulmate connection.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, and you know that when he starts talking too much, she kind of goes, shut up, just kiss me.
Well,
Like,
she
I think
literally
it's
was
better
like,
if
well,
we
can you
just-
hold it longer so we can kiss?
Yeah, and she goes, let's just make out. And it's like, she's kind of like, I don't need to hear more about that because that's boring, but we can just kiss, and that's kind of our relationship.
Or I'm a little grossed out that like you're just constantly just like peeing in your wetsuit. So like, can you like shut up and like do a tongue kiss?
Exactly.
So we'll see. But like from the preview, at least we're getting that an engagement is being considered, and I am
Which
shook
is
to the core.
wild.
Like, what is happening? I never like talk about not being on the bingo card. Like the definition of not being on the bingo card. Like that's even a possibility.
Put your money in now. Like it's gonna be one of those things. If you bet on it and they do get engaged, it'll be you'll win like $10,000 to $5 you put in.
That isn't. I mean, unbelievable. Also, there's Olivia and Michael. I completely forgot about this, and I need to have a shout out. We were talking about Aaron being the only person making an effort. It's not true. Michael.
It's true.
Michael's shout out has been
Seems
here.
to really be going.
And Michael has not been here for very long.
No.
He's been here for a minute. And
He's
guess
making
what
up
he's
for lost
doing?
time.
He is putting together, he's fashioning a basketball and a basketball hoop for Olivia, which was so sweet. And again, look at this man pursuing. He's simply pursuing Olivia on this beach right now. He's not like, chatting up with the other girls. And as he simply pursues Olivia and he knows that Olivia is simply pursuing him, he is still making an effort
I love it.
and having special date moments
Seems
with
like
her.
a really good guy.
He does seem like a really
And she
wonderful
deserves a good
person.
guy because
He
she's an
deserves-
amazing person. So
He is like the smile king.
Yep.
When he is on screen and he talks, he just makes me smile.
yeah, like I don't know if they'll get engaged because their relationship's so new,
It's
but
really
like I
fresh.
think they have a fighting chance to make it in the real world. That's for sure.
I think they're very, very cute together. You know,
Yes.
the only thing that I want out of this entire show
Yes.
is for Olivia to be happy.
to win.
I also told you this. At the end of the day, this season has been, when it comes to love connections, an absolute disaster, right? Like we are just not getting it. I told you, I said, this season of Bachelor in Paradise is a love song to me, to Olivia, because we have now, blessings to paradise, gotten to know her.
Yes.
So we had this special opportunity to get to know one of my most favorite people in the franchise ever, Olivia. And so that is my love song, right? This is a love song to Olivia this season. Also, I believe, and we'll get into this, a love song to Rachel.
Oh,
My heart is broken,
Yes.
but it also has been a love song. Seeing the way she's moved through all of this, she's been an absolute goddess. The way that she's handled all these ups and downs as a lead coming on to Bachelor in Paradise after being a lead.
yeah.
Them not treating her in the way that they should have on this show as a lead. Like
Yeah.
she should have gotten the red carpet rolled out. She didn't. They threw her on the beach first. Then this happened in this
She was
episode.
ragdolled.
Made her literally do the last rose. Like but she was just so gracious and lovely.
Yeah.
And then the other love song moment to me is that this is a song to, I think Blake should be the next Bachelor.
Oh, that would be amazing.
I think Blake needs to be the next Bachelor.
That would be so good.
I don't know if he would consider it, but I mean, sorry, Joey, no shade. I'm sure it's going to be a great season, but like, can you imagine if we were getting Blake?
Be amazing.
Like,
I think after seeing him on this and seeing him over the years now, it's like there'd be a lot of women who'd be like, sign me up.
And everyone too, I feel like this season of Bachelor in Paradise like fell more in love with Blake. I
Yes.
feel like for a long time we talked about it. People were doing the whole thing that I think is BS about like, oh, here he comes for another season. And I'm like, good. I want to see more Blake.
Love him.
I feel like people are all on Team Blake right now, loving him. We need him as our Bachelor.
I love it.
So that's my plea to the franchise. Please, if Blake wants it, give it to him. I beg you.
Well, speaking of Rachel,
but Rachel.
let's get into Jordan as well. with the
Okay.
Mercedes thing and the Rachel thing.
Okay, so we first see Jordan and Rachel on the daybed together, and let us not forget that Rachel and Tanner, after Jordan and Rachel's date, were like, okay, we're going to do this.
Yes.
But then Tanner ran into the roast and stuck his foot in his mouth a million times
Yes.
and said like not nice things about Rachel. And then Rachel was like, no, you already left me with a million question marks because I had no idea that you were even trying to pursue me. And then you go into the roast and like burn me alive.
Jordan comes down with only one person in sight.
Yes.
Takes her on the date.
Yes.
She's on the fence going, you know what? I'm going to give him a chance.
Yep.
Gives him a chance. Goes, you know what? There might be something here. He's on he's on her original season.
Yep.
Fighting for her. She turned him down. She's turned him down twice. Not to her fault. Just more like there wasn't a connection.
Yeah.
Now she goes, you know what? Maybe I need to think about this. And maybe I'm going at this the wrong way. I'm going to give him a shot. Giving him a shot and going, wait, I'm feeling something develop here. Sits him down and goes, I think let's really try for this thing. And he's like, got it. And he just turns around and goes, Mercedes, what you up to? Like it was,
Well, and not
and
only
not to
that.
hate on him, but it was more like, what just happened?
Well, and the vibe when they were sitting down, like not only does he ask you on the date first and then they're sitting down, I was getting the vibe from him that he was like all aboard this train. When Rachel
Oh
was
my
like,
gosh.
I want to give you my rose, I'm here.
Well, he went on the show to get her. Then he came on this show to get her. Mm-hmm. And then within one date, he's talking to those people. I don't remember who he was, but he was talking to the group.
And Olivia says, just so you know, Rachel has been talking about you for weeks. Like she's been waiting for you to be here. She's been thinking about you.
She regretted kind of not giving that an extra
and
shot.
she's like definitely interested. And he all of a sudden goes,
She's
yeah, like we're really good friends, but
no
like I don't know
romantic
about
connection.
if it's there for me romantically. And I was shocked and odd because from my perspective, what I was seeing was that he was all in romantically, and Rachel was a little bit like, I don't know if there's chemistry.
The switch up of the season
Now,
for sure.
I don't know if that's because then maybe he got wind that then her and Tanner were gonna like make it work, and then maybe
Right.
he felt a little bit like, well, she said no to me on her season, and then I
Yeah.
take her on a date and she's now going for Tanner, and now she's back with me, and so maybe he was feeling a little bit like, well, I don't know if I'm getting chosen first
Yeah,
in this situation, which I get.
Totally.
But I was shocked.
It was just out of nowhere. And then he turns around and goes to Mercedes, and Mercedes is kind of clearly going like, what? What's your name again?
Totally.
You know? And then
She
he's
was
like, he
thrown
really
off.
lays it on thick. And he's like, I've always liked you. You're one of the pretty people I came down for also, blah, 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 which we didn't know. He lays it on thick, really gives it the, the college try.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, okay, well, thank you. And you seem like a really nice guy too.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when the rose ceremony hit, it was like, whoa.
Whoa. And on top of all of this, with the rose ceremony, the show has, and listen, I want happiness for Mercedes too. Like, don't get me wrong. But the show with a lead lets Mercedes go
Pick
first,
Yes.
knowing that then Rachel was going to pick Jordan. So then they know that then Rachel is like, what? Is she going to pick Brayden or Taylor?
Well,
Right? Where you're like, no.
well,
So then she's going to walk.
Well, here's the thing. Where I was a little like thrown off was clearly Rachel didn't know.
She was shocked.
So it wasn't like Mercedes went over and spoke to Rachel and said, hey, I think I'm going to choose him if it's an option. Is that cool with you? Blah, blah, blah. Let's have this conversation. How interested really are you? None of that. Because when she chose him, you saw Rachel like actually jaw hit the floor. It was like a...
But then also Mercedes might not have known that her and Jordan had that talk.
Totally.
You know what I
I'm
mean?
not saying
Like-
she should have. I'm just
Yeah.
saying like clearly
didn't
they're
know.
both, no one was on the same page there amongst all three of them. So you have that. You have the like shock and awe of the choice. Mm-hmm. And then you got Rachel left holding the bag of like, what am I going to do
What
here?
am I going to do?
My opinion on that move.
Yeah.
I thought that Rachel taking back her power, saying, I'm not going to choose someone, whatever, was strong, was what she needed to take care of herself. 100% agree with it, 1,000%, especially what she's gone through. I feel so bad for her.
I know.
Love her. And she's just gotten the shit end of the stick on every single
know.
interaction. The only thing I would have preferred
Yeah.
is that she would have chosen Brayden.
Sure. So because we
and
wanted
then left the next day. Like, in my opinion, like you can still choose him and complete your thing. You can say, I want to still keep you around. Not because he deserves it, not any of that, but I'm saying like for my enjoying purposes.
Yeah. I know
She
for
could have
as a
chosen
viewer,
him
sure.
and then just left 4 hours later. basically doing this is a charity rose.
Yeah, but like think about it. After like,
but he had already burned her.
So it's like, what am I gonna do?
I'm not saying he deserved it. I just would have loved to see Brayden give one more go at like Jess or something like that.
That's very true, because it would have kept him on the beach, like getting to know Jess a little more.
And it was the double whammy that Jess chose Tanner and Mercedes chose Jordan.
Yeah, because those were the two that she'd been most recently talking
even
to.
If Jordan got chosen by Mercedes, she could have maybe chosen Tanner just to be like, let's see.
Right.
But the fact that they put both, knowing both were going to hit in front so that she was left alone. Dude, I don't know, Rachel, maybe you got to send some holiday gifts to the franchise producers or something. Maybe you got to send some flowers, some chocolates to some of these people, because whatever, they got you on a list. And the list is, let's see how much this girl can emotionally take before she breaks.
I mean, I'm like, come on, you guys. Like, let's give Rachel a win. And you know what the win was? The win was Rachel. The way that this woman handled that situation, my jaw was on the floor,
Loved
Evan.
it.
Like, she has dealt with all of this shit on the beach. And then the fact that she leaves isn't, because let me make something clear. If I was Rachel, I'm raging at producers. I'm like, you're putting me in the last rose position knowing what's going on. Like, I'm one of your leads. I am a huge draw for viewers for your show.
Big time.
And then you're going to put me in this situation. You throw me on the beach first. Like, what is happening? Right.
Yep.
And then the fact that she's like, I'm going to leave. She gets in the car. And the fact that she's talking about like, I'm so happy I did this because this is what I needed. And I really had so much fun. And even though I'm not walking away with somebody, like, I had a great time.
Yes.
And I was like, I am so impressed. Like, so impressed. And I'm going to say it over and over again. I want Rachel with an A-list actor. Like, this is my dream for her. I see her with an A-list actor. She is everything and more. Get this woman, on the red carpet at the Academy Awards, all the events to meet an A-lister. Like, this is what I want for her.
I agree entirely. Totally agree. I love the fact that she just said, hey, for once in my career in this franchise, I'm doing it on my terms.
On my terms.
Yeah.
Like, this is now for me. And she also it just sent me. I was laughing so hard. She's just such an amazing sport about it, which, by the way, I've seen her in Insta stories over the previous weeks saying like, I had so much fun on the beach. So she really did have a great time, which I love. That I'm so happy that she at least had a fun time doing it. It was a good experience. She posted after the elimination, or after she left, she posted, I'll see you in 40 years on the Golden Bachelorette.
I saw that too. Genius.
So good. So Rachel, we love you. I mean, an absolute queen. And I'm so glad that you decided to be like, this is on me.
Yes,
I'm
agreed.
Out. But some more wild shit happened at the rose ceremony that we need to talk about. One more quick pause and then we'll dive into that. Family, this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. So during the holiday season, often a lot of us have a lot of gift giving going on. And I know every family is different. Some exchange presents or some gift cards or some give the gift of time spent together. That's personally my most favorite. Whether or not your family gives gifts during the holidays, you get to define how you give to yourself. I love that. That is so cool. And I really feel like the holidays are a great time to do that. So whether it's by starting therapy or going easier on yourself during the tough moments or treating yourself to a day of complete rest, remember to give yourself some love during this holiday season. And I've shared before that one way I take care of myself during the holiday season is personally I up my therapy sessions because the holidays can unearth a lot, and having that extra therapy session really can help me move through and navigate those rockier days better. I highly suggest therapy. We highly suggest therapy. It's been a game changer for both of us. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. Yeah, therapy has been helpful in so many ways for me. I'm noticing it this season. For sure. One tool I've been learning a lot in therapy has benefited me so much is learning positive coping skills that empower me. Like Jess said, if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime with no additional charge. They really do make it so convenient and designed to fit your schedule, which is extremely helpful during busy times of the year like we are in now. In the season of giving, give yourself what you need with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/momdad today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/momdad. All right. So with the rest of this rose ceremony, we had the situation initially where it's like, okay, the girls have the roses and one man's going home. Obviously that changed because Rachel decided to take in her power that she was out of here.
Yeah.
But of course we have Eliza and Aaron. They're in love. I believe they're going to make it. We have Kat and John Henry, Kylee and Avon. She says that she foresees that he's going to be getting down on one knee.
Yeah.
We see in the previews. We don't know if that's going to be happening because Avon makes a comment about how like her one focus is this engagement. And it seemed like they were in an argument in that conversation. We see her crying later. So I don't know. And we've had question marks with them the whole time. Again, we don't know how much we're like not seeing versus what we're seeing. And maybe it's been going so well, but it has just seemed kind of mellow.
Just kind of the heart monitor is just kind of beep, like it's just kind of there, like they're just kind of like a 10-year married couple, just kind of like, how's it going? Good. How was your day? All right. Anyway, that's
my thing. And I don't feel like, for it to be a healthy relationship by any means, I think that it can be a relationship that is mellow. It doesn't always have to be like, wow, this is like absolutely wild.
Right.
But there is a level where you're kind of like, at least for what we're seeing,
a pulse here.
It just doesn't feel like really intense. Like it doesn't feel like this is the honeymoon phase, which it should be right now.
But I also think that's what it does to people who get linked really early.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And never had ups and downs. They've just probably been cool together.
That's true. They haven't had any drama.
Like, you're also kind of relying on everyone else's relationship to bring passion into your life. So like, it'll be interesting maybe once they get into the real life, if they continue, that it'll create like a little more passion. But it's definitely like they've been kind of like mom and dad in it on the side the whole time. Like, everything's fine.
Yeah, maybe. I just had a thought. Maybe Blake, in the dynamic of their crew, brought a lot of conversation. Do you know what I mean? Maybe
Sometimes,
like when they'd be hanging out, Blake would be kind of like, they'd have their like double dates with Blake and Jess, and maybe it brought on a lot of conversation. Maybe when they're alone, sometimes like...
If you develop your whole relationship with a group...
Yeah.
You have no idea if you have a connection outside of that group.
It's true, because I've been with people before, like when I've dated, where it's like, oh, when we're hanging with people, it's super great, and then all of a sudden when we're alone, it's like I do like the person, but it's not as comfortable because you're kind of like,
hot, I'm hot,
right? And you're kind of like, well, we don't like it. Maybe it's a little tougher to start conversation.
Exactly.
Maybe there's a lot of quietness, and you're not like.
They spent a month just with friends.
Yeah,
their whole relationship, a couple weeks just with friends.
Mm-hmm.
So they have no idea if they can just sit at dinner and have a great time. Interesting.
I mean, and again, maybe not. Maybe they do spend a lot of time alone, but that's maybe a Blake theory. Maybe that's a little bit why she was like, please don't go. Like,
you're kind of the glue.
He adds a dynamic maybe that was fun and conversational with their friends.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know. That's interesting. So we'll see. Okay. And then we have Olivia. She gives her rose to Michael. She says she's in a good place with him. I want the best for Olivia. Michael seems amazing. I do agree with you. I don't know if maybe it's just too quick. But I could definitely see them leaving dating.
I think the worst thing they could do is try to get engaged.
I feel like when it's so fast, it just adds so much pressure.
Don't get engaged and just go date and have a great time.
I am literally so about being on the sand and leaving as like a dating couple.
100%.
And I think maybe that's what Avon wants too, by the way. Maybe
I think
Avon's
that gives
a little
you a fighting
bit like,
chance.
Yeah, I feel like Avon's maybe a little bit like, I want to be with you, but like maybe let's not get married, like get engaged right now.
I agree entirely.
But I could definitely see Olivia and Michael like continuing, but I don't know, like it's just so quick for an engagement.
Well, I think about this too, like in the regular show,
yeah,
they spend tons of alone time together. They have a fantasy suite. They go on dates. They spend entire days alone.
Well, this is what's interesting though. So I've heard, and it's like what Blake was saying, is a lot of people spend way more time together in paradise than they ever do when they're on the show.
But not alone time, right? You're like in a group all the time.
No, you can, but you're still going off and having side conversations.
Okay.
On the actual show, you barely spend any time with the lead. Now with Olivia and Michael, I guess if I think about it, now they haven't spent a ton of time together in comparison to like a Blake and Jess, but they probably even still will spend more time together in this situation than if they would have been on the show.
Out. Lee, cut what I said out.
Because I believe they will get fantasy suites in this final episode.
Oh, okay.
They get alone time together.
Got it.
I don't know. I just want whatever will make them the most happy. They're both so lovely.
Agreed.
Then we have Sam and Peter, which another couple.
The sleeper couple of the century.
The sleeper couple, they've been together for now a hot minute.
Like almost the whole time.
Don't seem to be having any ups and downs. He did declare to her that he's just there for her. I cannot shake that there's just something that I love Sam, that Peter makes me nervous. And I have a feeling that he is going to pull a last minute and I hope this doesn't happen because I just love her, but I have a feeling he's going to pull a last minute blindsiding moment on her, like where they're going to like get to fantasy suite and wake up the next day and it's going to be like, we broke up because he's like, I'm not going to.
I also think we're very much influenced by the whole FP thing.
I think we're 100%.
If none of that was happened, and we didn't have all those guys hating him,
I'd probably say they were going to stay together.
Oh, it seems great. Like, I not like electric, but like something's there. If it wasn't for this underlying thing that like everyone hates Peter, then you kind of go, wait a second, what is going on here? Because the show hasn't shown that he's, other than that one moment, it hasn't shown tons of like bad energy. So
no, you're right. That's probably what it is, but we'll see. And then of course, the most embarrassing moment.
Oh my God.
That has ever happened.
In memoriam to one of the saddest creatures to ever come down upon this show. He comes down, he's sweating, nervous, terrified, can barely say a word. It was just basically like Jordan's allowed to bring a +1. That's what it was. Jordan came down and he's like, can I bring a friend? I have this guy. Well, we don't know if it works or not, but and they're like, sure. And then they showed up and he's like, hey, can I get a, he's like the guy you bring to like a celebrity's like birthday party and he's like, excuse me, can I get a picture? And you're like, dude, keep it cool. Like that's this guy. He comes down, he gets obliterated right away. No one talks to him. It's awkward. He tries to pull people. It's awkward.
No.
It was so brutal. I don't know what it was when he's talking to Jess and Tanner walks up and just basically big brothers him.
Oh,
and she goes, can you please move? I'm going to talk to Jess. And he's like, well, I'm in the middle. Okay, that's fine. And he just
by
leaves.
the way,
and Tanner's
that's
like, you
after
don't
we
even
find
exist. Let's chat, Jess.
And that's the one thing that we find out about Taylor in this whole thing, that he has a little dog named Albert.
Perfect.
Which I would love to meet Albert.
Albert sounds incredible.
But that's really the only thing.
That's the only thing you know about him. And then he's in the rose ceremony. And Jess goes, Tanner. And Taylor walks forward about 10 feet. And she goes, oh, no. And he goes, oh, you said Tanner. And he has to walk back to the line and looks at whoever was on his left and goes, that was bad.
I mean.
And everyone went like, oh, like it was so uncomfortable. Everyone like had the nervous shits. Like everyone was like, I need to use the restroom right now. Like everyone was like, oh, like if Sam was there, she would have gone to the bathroom right away.
She would have finally pooped.
The nervousness would have hit her and she would have finally pooped in that moment. Because that was top 10 most
it was,
and not only is it like if someone else did it, but it's like your only experience on this show and all your friends watching this show is that you came down, it was awkward as hell, you got big brothered by Tanner, and now you created one of the most humiliating moments by walking forward and not being chosen, and then you go home after.
Oh no.
Oh, dude. I was like looking at people behind Tanner.
Oh, they were
all like trying not to laugh and look at each other like, oh, did you just fucking see that?
No, that was so brutal. The worst.
So just, hey man, in memoriam to you.
Yeah, pour a drink out.
Rest in peace.
Yeah,
pour
the
a drink
out a little bit.
It was tragic to see that.
It was so tragic. That was
because that was like his only mark. Like that was so brutal. Like Sam with the poop thing looked way better. Like Sam at least.
Well, yeah, because she was like, she was in a relationship.
She's like, I thought I got a bad edit.
Yeah, we got to know Sam a little more, and we had a fun poop edit. This was just like we don't see him at all.
At least I'm not the whoops guy. Oh.
So brutal. So
the
brutal.
only thing that would have made it worse is if he like tripped on his way back. You know what I mean? Like that's the only way it could have been worse. Like there's only so much you could do.
One of the boards from the palapa goes flying up and like hits him. Yeah, I don't know. That was like, oh God, poor guy. What it was so tragic. So yes, Jess gives her rose to Tanner, and then Mercedes gives her rose to Jordan, and then of course we see the whole Rachel situation. Another moment is when Brayden and Tanner, this was the final big moment to me, is when Brayden and Tanner were sent home. And I don't think we even saw an exit interview or Brayden and Taylor were sent home. Excuse me. I'm going to now be calling him Tanner.
Yeah.
I don't think we even saw an exit interview from Taylor.
No.
I don't think we saw a single word.
The shame was too great. They're like, just put him in the car, get his ass out of here.
Go.
Get him, rescue him, get him out of here. Direct to the hospital. They sent him right to the hospital.
Like gets airlifted out of there.
Yeah, he got airlifted.
He's like, you guys, I'm fine.
He
and
got
they just airlifted him.
airlifted. They're like, get him. He's like, Like, what was it? He walked forward. It wasn't his name. It was brutal. They're like, we are going to have to pull out call doctor, whatever, because the specialist to revive him back from the just absolute humiliation of that moment.
Airlifting is wild. But yeah, we don't even get an exit interview with Taylor, but we do get one with Brayden. And Brayden said something that I loved to hear at the end. Because I thought we all predicted that Brayden was going to be a star in paradise in the sense that I'm like, he's going to cruise down. No. And he better be careful not to break 1,000 hearts. I thought he was going to be like all over dating, and it's just, that was just not his journey on this.
Not his journey at all.
But what I loved to hear was a moment of acknowledgement where he was like, I really messed up my relationship with Rachel. He's like, I should have not gone on that date with Becca. He said, if I could go back, I wouldn't have gone on that date with Becca. And he's like, I burned somebody who's a really wonderful girl. And he's like, I need to do better. And I need to be better.
Wow.
And I loved to hear that at the end.
What a different Brayden from his season.
Yeah. I mean, it was just like definitely an acknowledging of like, yeah, you did blow it in that situation. Like you and Rachel were having a vibe. We all saw it. Everyone was pretty much rooting for it. Like even the audience was like, what? We kind of love this. And then he just ran with Becca and it was just donezo. But I love that he said that he needs to do better and be better. And he learned that from this show.
Agreed.
And I thought that was a wonderful way to wrap a Brayden moment. And he will be back, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
He's either going to show up on a Bachelorette season or he'll be back on the sand.
Or he'll be on, what's that, like for Survivor show?
Survivor?
No, the one we've been liking.
Oh, Special Forces.
Special Forces. Maybe throw him on there.
He might be on Special Forces. I could see him just being a reality king.
Just a reality king.
I feel like he would be fantastic. I would actually love to see him on shows like that.
Yeah,
because
he's wildly entertaining.
Yeah, I really would. And I think that he would probably thrive on a show like that.
Yeah, agreed.
But we got the preview for next week, and it's starting off by them having a party. And we all know what happens historically. Whenever there's the final party on Bachelor in Paradise, it ends in disaster. Everyone's crying at the end of it, and I don't doubt that this will result in that. And we will see if there's any weddings or any engagements, excuse me.
Yeah.
But yeah, make sure to tune in on Monday as we cover the finale and see what's going on with these people. Let's do some call homes.
Let's do a couple call homes.
It's been a minute.
It's been a while.
It's time to do some call homes.
Agreed.
Remember, you can always call home. Hi, Mom and Dad.
Hi.
I love you guys. I have a multifaceted question today. I am curious if you guys have ever come across this in your relationship, since I know you have gone through many phases of life together. But basically, I am curious how you come back from periods where you do not like your partner really at all. You still love them so much. You cherish them. You really care about them and their well-being. You're still in love, but you just don't like them. I guess you could relate it to having the ick. Can you come back from the ick? Can you come back from, and this is where it becomes multifaceted, can you come back from resentment? So, of course, there's layers to that. But, we've resolved a lot of issues in the past, but there are just a lot of things that sort of took a toll on me. And at the time, was happy we could move forward from no cheating, nothing like that. Mm-hmm. But just general issues that a long-term relationship faces. And I am just starting to worry that my resentment has built up so much. It's now causing me to have the ick, causing my patience to be very low, in turn causing me to really dislike them a lot of the time. How do I navigate that? How do I come back from that? Do I need to do more therapy? Do they need to do more therapy? Let me know. I would really value any feedback you guys have. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this question, first of all. Okay, so I feel like there are two parts to this. One is how do you deal with when you are in a relationship and you love the person, but you don't like them at the moment? And then the other one is the resentment piece.
Right.
I feel like those are two parts. I feel like, in my opinion, that those can be two different questions. Because first of all, thank you for this question. I feel like it's not talked about a lot.
Yeah.
The idea that like you can be in a very healthy relationship, and if you're in a long-term relationship, there inevitably will be times where you love your partner but do not like them. Bottom line.
I've never experienced that, but I've read books on these.
Like, I mean, that is just the truth of the matter. Here's the bottom line. Evan is my soulmate. Like, you know, you are the person I want to be with for the rest of my life. I love spending time with you more than like anybody else. But are you joking? But of course, there are times and seasons in our relationships over the past like 17 years.
Yeah.
That we'll go through seasons where it's like, we love each other. We don't like each other. We're bugging the shit out of each other. Like those seasons, and those are rough because those are the moments where then you go, should I still be with this person? Are we over each other? I mean, everyone goes through this.
Yeah.
I think even like the most healthy relationships go through it. So I think it's a really important conversation to have so that when you do have those moments in your relationship, that it doesn't then mean meltdown city in the sense of like, oh no, do I need to be with somebody else? I think sometimes that's the case, but I think you will be in a very healthy relationship and still go through seasons where you do not like your partner and they're making you absolutely bananas. So just know that, right? And I think I would say maybe personally a way that you can move through those seasons as healthily as possible. Because of course then you do need to evaluate too, like, oh, is there something going on that maybe like we shouldn't be together? But if you're like, no, this is my person, like, but they're bugging me and I don't like to be around them. I think what's important is a simultaneous combination of spending time apart while making intentional time together. So I think it's important during those times when you are driving each other absolutely crazy that you spend time apart. Give yourself some air. I know if you live with this person, that's a little bit harder, but you can do it. You can spend more nights out with friends. You can get out of the house more. You can start another hobby. Bring up other passion in your life that doesn't involve your partner to bring you air. But I think if you just do that, that then can create more distance with the partner. So I think you spend intentional time away with the person, but then intentionally make sure that you have like date nights and special moments together while that's happening.
Yeah.
Because I think where a lot of then the time can get like worse and worse and you start to irritate each other is if you're just around each other with no purpose. I think that's when then the agitation comes. When you're just like in the house, you know, it's the weekend and you just kind of, you don't have any plans and you guys are kind of just like sitting and he's watching this and you're watching this and you're crossing and bumping into each other and you need to get this errand done, but he didn't finish this or they didn't do this. Like that's when I think the aggravation happens. So I think it's important to have a simultaneous like separation and then intentional coming together.
Got it.
That's a tip that I have.
Love it.
But I don't have an answer for like how to walk through that the best because I think it just happens sometimes. And then as far as the resentment goes, this is a tough one for me because I feel like this is so individual. Like you have to take the time to explore yourself. Maybe that is through therapy, on whether or not this is something that you can move forward with, because resentment can just keep getting bigger and bigger and it's just going to make it worse. You know what I mean? Like if you just let it linger, it probably isn't going to go away. So you got to figure out if this is something that you're willing to just push past and through your own therapy or couples therapy work on together. Or if this is something that you're like, I just don't think I'm going to push past this. Yeah. And this might be something that will always linger in our relationship and I can't handle it. And I think an important piece of that is not feeling like you need to rush that decision. Like, I know it's always the line is time is short. I think it'd be a different situation if you were like, this person cheated and I feel like they're wasting my time now. But like, if there's just certain resentments and you're just together, you don't need to rush a decision on like, do I need to stay with this or should I stay with this person or leave? I think you can maybe slowly walk through that and figure out if the resentment is too big, by specific conversations with your partner that might be difficult, about being honest about where that resentment comes from. If there's ways that your partner can change, that you can change, that you guys can fix that together, if couples therapy is going to be the best thing. And I think you can slowly move through that so that then you don't look back and regret having made a rushed decision. You can try to move through that slowly. Those are my thoughts, if any of that.
I love that.
Gets pieced together.
I'm just going to discuss I think I'm going to combine them real quick. Just I don't like you and I'm resenting you.
Yeah.
If it's not a cheating thing or it's not something like that, if you kind of seem to be like, oh, it's nothing like that, it sounds like a growth thing. It sounds like you guys, it's a growth thing. It also sounds like not a growth as in you need to grow, as in it's been growing in you like a fungus. You know what I mean? Like you watching him as he disgustingly eats that food and he leaves the fucking shit on the counter like this gross slob that he is, and he bumbles over to the couch and plays this video. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's
where
like you
everything
start
is just
to
like,
just watch and go, fuck, it's gross, you know? And that's clearly, in my opinion, it's a lack of communication. Like you haven't told him. And I don't know him. I don't know the scenario, but all I do know is that we can be responsible for our own emotions. And when things get to like a festering resentment point, I think that's kind of on us that we haven't said, I'm going to take control of the situation. I'm going to call this person out. I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like the person might be doing all the wrong things, but as the person who's feeling the negative emotion, we then have to go, you know what? I need to communicate to this person. This is important to me. You're not meeting my needs. And if they continue to not meet your needs, now you're in a whole different ballpark. Yeah. But what can happen is the other person can have no idea the way you're feeling. And they think you're totally fine with how they're acting.
Question for you though. What if our dear listener, whatever the thing that caused the resentment, what if they did confront their partner and they have walked through it?
Yes.
But even post the walkthrough, post that because of then the resentment, because of whatever happened, it's lingering. That feeling of resentment.
Now, are you saying the person hasn't changed at all?
What if it's not something where like it's a change thing? It's just like after whatever happened.
It's just festering.
Yeah.
Like it's like I can't look at you the same way.
Yeah. I know that this person, that our listener said it wasn't cheating, but let's just say it was something where like they did something that wasn't nice or
and
right.
It showed a side of them you didn't know they were capable of.
And then they apologize and change, but then you still have that feeling where you're like, I can't really shake this.
It might be one thing, maybe you have to break up.
Yeah.
So maybe it's just like you realize the side of them, you're like, I'm not into this. And I don't think I can come back from this knowing that you're capable of that. It also can be your shit doesn't stink a little bit. I know that I can feel that way. Sometimes it's like, I'll feel like, you know, what you're doing is bothering me. Therefore, I'm kind of saying I'm better in some ways. And I think that you need to realize that your shit can also stink to that person.
Yeah.
And that they might be feeling the same way. So I think, again, it's communication, it's coming forward, it's talking about, it's working on those things. But then it's also like, why do I feel so strongly about this? Maybe it's a trigger for me. Maybe it's something that I've kind of put on this thing of like, if you do this, you're the worst. Maybe I need to kind of, if you want to stay with this person and you love them, fight for getting rid of the ick. Don't just wait for the ick to go away because it might not. Yeah. Fight for like, why do I feel this way? And start to like de-weaponize kind of the way it makes you feel. If you're like, let's say it's lazy. Let's say something is laziness or something and you feel like he's being lazy or something like that. It's like, maybe just go, you know what? Maybe I can just encourage him to pick up after himself, to do these things that are bothering me instead of festering in it. Yeah. You know, I mean, again, you didn't really give us a ton of detail, so we're kind of reaching here.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm just saying like, when you get into a relationship where you've been for a while, you got to fight. You really do. So you need to fight to not feel the ick. Yeah. You need to kind of explore that a little bit.
Fight for in a positive way. Yeah. Not like fight with each other.
Fight for it. Fight. You know, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. I got to shake this off. If you want it, go for it. Dive into why it makes you feel that way. Yeah. So, I mean, all I'm saying is this, like, don't sit there and wait for it to go away because it might not, especially if it's something that's really bothering you. Dive head in to like, why do you feel this way? Totally.
But yeah, I mean, sending you so much love. As far as the resentment piece goes, like I said, and like Evan was saying, like we don't know the details, so that's going to have to be very self-exploratory, but make sure that biggest piece of advice, make sure you do explore it. And like Evan said, communicate, talk about it, fight for it, and maybe the fighting for it shows you that it's not the relationship you want to be in. But I think if you just sit in it, it's just going to get worse, and that's not good for you or for your partner. You gotta move in it, as much as it's tough.
I got some great advice once from someone.
Yeah.
Whenever your person's bugging the shit out of you, do something really nice for them. It's almost like
nice.
it like gets you out of your head. It
Oh my
shows
God, now
them.
every time you do something nice for me, I'm going to be like, I've been bugging him.
No, you know what I mean? It's like you're actively fighting against the negative path you're headed down.
100%.
So like it might even be as simple as like he needs like you doing something nice. Like let's say for like Jess, it's flowers or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and we're bugging each other and I just go get her flowers. I don't feel like I want to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm annoyed. Nothing about this is coming from a place of like ooze or love or authenticity.
Not
It's just like I'm doing this. I'm forcing myself to lock back in. Boom. Then she might go, you know what? The biggest thing is lately I felt like you haven't done nice things for me. Boom. Now I feel love. Now I feel like, wow, I should have connected. Sometimes it does take a little bit of, it's like almost like a emotional like slap to yourself. Like wake up, and sometimes you got to like it's like forcing the smile when you're not feeling happy. It's like sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah. And if it's minus the resentment part, if you're in a place where you're like, oh, I've just been with this person for a long time and they're just bugging me,
You're
their
just
existence.
kind of annoyed, yeah.
Sometimes it's good, with that being said too, is to just like pause for a moment and just like stare into your partner's eyes for a long time and like genuinely tell them, that you love them.
Yeah.
Like it stops
Force
time.
yourself to
it
get there,
stops time for a second, and then you're like, I do love this person,
Right.
and I've just been
I'm
struggling,
in my
and
head.
they're bugging me, but I love you. Like
Maybe all this
I
resentment's
really do.
coming from my own shit, my own
Maybe
life
it's
at
coming
work.
from
Who knows
something
what?
else. Yeah, that's the thing, and that's the thing. We put that sometimes on people that we're comfortable with.
Yeah.
I know I do that a lot. So, anywho, should we do one more?
Yes, let's do
do
it.
one more.
Hello, mom and dad. I love your podcast so much. I am an international family member, so excuse my sexy Polish accent.
You do have a sexy Polish
yeah,
accent.
Just, I remember starting watching Chatty Broads because I knew Becca from The Bachelor, and she was having a podcast with some random lady, and I never expected how much I would relate to you and how much you inspired me, and yours and Evan's relationship will give me hope for my future, and I love you guys a lot. So a couple months ago I went through a breakup from a long distance relationship, and in one of your episodes you talked about you guys breaking up in the past and how you were basically at that time killing each other and needed this space to grow apart from each other, to figure out your shit and be able to reconnect in a healthy way. And so my question is, because I didn't want this breakup and there was no mistake made by neither side, I have no power to fix the breakup itself. So all I can do is try to grow, but how do I stop being delusional and get to a space where I don't feel like coming back together is the only way to be happy again, or that I stopped doing everything with the hope of coming back with that person, from small things to like trying to figure out how to maybe one day move to his country just in case he wants me back. And obviously the country is great and I was supposed to move there when we were together and I would love to live there. But if this happens, I want to do it for the right reasons, not my delusional reasons. And now I just feel frustrated and sad, and I don't even know if we ever talk with each other, let alone to come back together. So it's hard to find motivation to do something for myself, like truly for myself. So please help. I love you. Bye.
Okay, love you, first of all. And I just want to say this. Just to reframe, you're saying that, that you're having these delusional feelings and how do I get out of that? I want to reframe that and say you're a lover. Like that is clear. You are a lover and you have a lot to give. The fact that you're just like, you're saying, well, I'm feeling delusional. Like maybe I'm going to go to this country to see that if he wants me back. Don't think of it that way. Think of it in the way that you are a lover and you are a giver. And as such, you deserve someone who is going to love you hard and give back to you hard. Okay. So just want to reframe that for you. You're a lover. You're a good partner. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I'm I'm so sorry. That's really, really hard. It's hard to be in a situation where you don't want the breakup and you still are in love with this person and it happens and it's out of your control. But kind of echoing what I said before, you deserve to be loved hard and you deserve to be fought for. You deserve to have someone who gives back hard. And I think it's not going to be easy. So it's like, I don't have like a solution for you, but I think it's really important that you remember that. And instead of focusing on like, oh, why am I being this way? Be like, no, I'm amazing. And so I'm going to be amazing to myself right now and love on myself right now. And when I do that, the right people will come into my life. It's really amazing when you do take care of yourself, and not in a selfish way, in a way of like acknowledging like how wonderful you really are. When you put that energy into yourself, it's amazing the type of people that you will attract, like genuinely, you know? And then you also then put up your boundary from those people who are going to want to take, you know what I mean? So I think it's really important to focus on you and maybe cut away any day-to-day temptations to bring that person back into your mind. For example, if you've got photos of them all in your phone, maybe it's time to delete those pictures. And if you don't want to delete them, put them on a hard drive that's away from you, right? That you got to go plug back in somewhere to go find them. It's not easy access for you. So you're not just swiping through thinking about all the good times. That brings up more pain. I'm such an advocate of getting off social media. If you're able to get off social media, I would take a break from it, because not only then are you going to see him, you'll also see other people, and social media is a facade. And so you'll see certain things that aren't even real. And that, I know for me, was like very spiral situation for me. When Evan and I broke up, I just deleted all my social media, and that helped me a lot. If you can't delete all your, or like pause from all your social media, I would at least like hide his stuff so that you're not seeing this on a regular basis. And busy hands, always busy hands is my recommendation. Like, you've had your time of grieving and you can still grieve, but I think it's now time to like get out and do things for you. So whether that be like really intentional about setting up a schedule for yourself where you're going out with friends regularly, where you're having fun. And I'm not saying that like you can distract away the pain, but like to a certain extent, when you're distracting yourself with other good things, it helps you see what you deserve and what your life can be like, and the good memories, you know, even without a partner there, right? Just for yourself.
Yeah.
Those are kind of, initial thoughts.
I love that. I'm going to make a huge assumption here, because I'm just hearing it in the way you're talking about him. I think if it sounds like in your mind, how am I ever going to find someone like him again? You also sound like you probably waited on him hand and foot. That whenever he wanted to hang out, you were down. You were waiting for his text. Like, it just reeks of like... Yeah,
moving to where he...
In your mind, you had put him on a massive pedestal to now you're willing to like follow him anywhere in hopes that one day he'll just wake up and choose you. Like, I get it, right? And then post-breakup, it's even more of a pedestal. Oh my God, I saw that story. He was with that other person. Now you've built him even up more, and I miss him. And you probably forgot all the bad times and only remember the good times. And it's become a monster in your head. I'm going to say this, like, I think the time of sitting around is done. I think you need to go out into the world, and sure, you can say to yourself, and I think this is really important, say to yourself, you're enough. Say to yourself, you deserve better, you deserve more, you deserve all that stuff. And that's true. But I think we have to go out and prove it to ourselves. And sometimes saying it's not enough. Sometimes you got to go out and build your life a little more to where you feel that again. And I don't mean like have a successful career. Maybe that is a part of it. I don't know. But I'm more saying go out and do, create, fail. I'm getting the sense you're at home thinking about this too much. I need you out. I need you going. I need you taking risks. I need you dating people. I need you like experiencing so you can find yourself in this, so that if he ever does call, you go, maybe. Because you've built yourself.
Yeah, you're not like, yes.
You've built yourself enough to go, I decide what I need.
Yeah.
I don't wait around for someone else to decide what I need. And it sounds like that's kind of who he was for a while. And I'm just saying, like, 2024, That's the year if he calls, you go, I honestly don't think so because I met this other person, or I'm too busy doing this, or whatever.
Yeah, or I'll let you know.
Or I'll let you know. And that you've kind of detached yourself from this idea that you're waiting for
What's
him.
your current mailing address? I'll send a response in 1 to 2 business months.
Because if nothing happened, that means that the feeling wasn't mutual at the end there. And you don't want to be in that place.
No.
Because even if he called tomorrow, who says it's not going to happen again in 2 weeks? That he goes, actually, never mind. And then you're on this cycle. So you need to get back to the place where you make the choices.
I love that.
So go focus on building your life. Build your dream life, whatever that looks like. Focus on that. And then I guarantee you'll run into either him again in the right setting or a new person. And you won't be sweating him anymore because you'll be busy like building you.
I love that.
So
I love that. Well, sending you so much love.
Yeah.
Remember, you deserve
absolutely
all of it. So, well, we love you all.
Love ya.
And we'll chat on Monday.
Yes, we'll
and
see you in a couple days.
Yeah, a great rest to your weekend. And bye, everybody.
Bye.